Hello, I'm Scott Beach. Just a quick note to help you get the most out of this little piece of nonsense. At the end, there's a chant, presumably done by the members of the jury in the O.J. Simpson trial. It goes like this. Yatatata yatatata gibble gabble gibble gabble yatatata yatatata gibble gabble gibble gabble. Always in the same rhythm of the body of the piece. Now, when you hear that chant, please join in, okay? Here we go. The trial of the century, that's what some people call it. It's the People versus Simpson. As you know, it all began in June of 1994. It was the horrifying killing of two people, one of whom was the defendant's former wife, who was a woman named Nicole, and Ronald Goldman was the other. They were slaughtered with a knife, and there they lay out on a path where later someone came along and saw them dead as they could be, and pretty soon the cops were there, and with inspectors everywhere, all taking samples of the blood and checking fingerprints and looking for the weapon. Then the bulletin went out to make a check on O.J. Simpson, and we saw an endless chase along the highways of Los Angeles, the eerie white Ford Bronco being followed by a cavalcade of black and whites and people holding signs like Go O.J., and with the network giving recaps with commercials in between. And right away, in every restaurant and bar, the only subject was the Simpson case. And did he really murder them? And what about the principle that tells us you are innocent until they find you guilty? Then with Ito on the bench, a jury panel is installed, and then the lawyers for the people and the ones for the defense began to do their best to make us all support their point of view. And now the prosecution says, Your Honor, we the people have a lot of very solid evidence and witnesses to show that Mr. Simpson is the guilty party, and we're very certain that the jury will agree. And then we hear from the defense who say it's nothing of the kind because this man was out of town. We're going to show you that he's innocent. He couldn't be the culprit, as our evidence will show. And now the jury is in place, and there's a witness on the stand in the direct examination and an even longer cross and admonitions from the bench and lots of sidebar conversations, and it goes along that way for the remainder of the day. And then another and another with a guy named Kato Kalin with a lot of shaggy hair and the impression of a junkie in the middle of a run. And later on, a bunch of so-called expert witnesses to talk of DNA and lots of stuff about molecular biology and something called serology. And Clark is on her feet, and she accuses the defense of going doo-doo on the rules, and Johnny Cochran gets her angry with a line about hysteria, which causes a debate about political correctness, and the jury goes on strike because of things that they don't like. And now the bookies in Las Vegas and in London offer odds about the outcome, and the radio and television stations have a ball because the ratings are the highest they have ever seen. But there's a problem in the country with so many people listening or watching, and their bosses raising hell about how nothing's getting done. And all the time there's O.J. Simpson sitting calmly at the table, and you really have to wonder if it's actually happening or if it's all a scam that's being run on us by someone who's a latter-day disciple of the likes of Andy Warhol. What if Simpson? Well, the classy things he did out there up on the football grid blew lots and lots of happy fans just plumb away, and then in ever-growing spurts the money came to him from Hertz, and later on some parts in movies came his way, and he was doing very well, although his private life was hell because Nicole got rather testy when he beat her up or made her think he wanted to. It wasn't lots of fun. She even called up 911. Domestic violence became the theme of letters to the editor, and then we had a witness from the office of the coroner. Laxmanan was his name, and the direct examination seemed to take almost as long as the construction of the Panama Canal, and pretty soon I started wondering if maybe those attorneys in the case were really working by the hour. And then the cross-examination and recesses with the judge and all the lawyers back in camera to talk of who knows what, and then they're back and it continues with another string of witnesses and photographs and diagrams and other bits of evidence. Objections are sustained or overruled, and there's the court reporter clattering away, and soon you really had to wonder if the jury could be making any sense of the proceedings, or if maybe they were thinking that our country's legal system isn't just a bunch of yatatata gibble gabble gibble gabble 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 yatatata gibble gabble gibble gabble.